Hey everyone, Andang here, really excited because today I'm going to be doing a bit of a different video than normal. We're actually going to be going through LOTRO's timeline, taking a look at where we've been and where we'll be going to in LOTRO's future and how the timeline is relating to everything going on here in the Lord of the Rings Online. So I'm super excited about this. Hopefully you guys are as well. Let's go ahead and hop right on in to an article over on Tolkien Gateway to see the timeline and where we're at in it. So here is the timeline of events in the Third Age. More exactly, this is the year 3019 in the Third Age. And right now in 3019, LOTRO is currently between the end of May and the start of June. The reason we know this is because, spoiler alert for recent content, we met up with Arwen and Elrond and all of them in the most recent main area before Minas Morgul. And then we went on to do Minas Morgul and got this whole sidetrack. So in reality, we're probably around June 14th, somewhere in here, around the early parts of June. We don't know exactly where, but that's the general idea, is that we're in early June here. So because of that, it means that we're a long way away from the Scouring of the Shire. To give you guys an idea, the Scouring of the Shire is way down here at the Battle of Bywater and everything that goes on in November. Right now, we are way up in June. That doesn't sound like that much time, but keep in mind, January was the Mines of Moria expansion. So it's been less than 6 months in game time since Mines of Moria. Yeah, that expansion that came out 12 years ago. Less than 6 months. Kind of hard to even wrap your brain around how slow LOTRO's timeline really is moving. It's really hard. I mean, honestly, we wouldn't even entered Moria in January because this is when the company reaches Holland. So at the start of January, the company hasn't even gone into Moria. And keep in mind, we go in Moria after them. So yeah, this whole timeline is kind of insane how condensed it is. Pretty much everything from the Dead Marshes and Helm's Deep and all that stuff, including Minas Tirith being besieged, all that stuff happened in March. So pretty much all the key events of the third book, the final Fellowship of the Ring, Return of the King, the final Return of the King book, everything in that book happens in the month of March. A third of the Lord of the Rings essentially happens in March. Kind of crazy. Plus Helm's Deep. Just insane. So since March, we've been on an accelerated timeline in Middle-earth. You'd kind of have to be with the amount of stuff that happened in here. They slowed down the timeline so far that they were measuring updates by like days, if not hours. I mean, it's insanely condensed. So if we go down to April, we then have the Ring Bearers honored at the Field Cormallen. That was the Mordor expansion, was April. In May, some of the later updates after the Mordor expansion. And pretty much we're here at the start of June. So now that you have an idea of the time scale of how long things are taking and how insanely slow LOTRO's going, let's continue on and look at some of the key events coming up and go over what might be coming to LOTRO in the coming time here. By the way, Mama Bird, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Pontin, welcome. Nice to have you here as well. So the escort sets out for Gondor with Arwen and Elrond on the 16th from Edoras. On the 25th, King Elisar finds the sapling of the White Tree. Now, people who have played through LOTRO know that this event kind of moved around because there's no way that we're at the 25th of June for where Elrond is. So that might be a mistake, actually, where they took too long. You know, Arwen and them should be further along, or this event that we did with the reputation stuff is taken out of place. But either way, there's a little bit of a time paradox discrepancy there. Anyway, in June as well, Arwen comes to the city, and at Mid-Year's Day, Aragorn and Arwen get married. I'm super excited for this. This is right around the corner. I'm guessing that this will be the next update to LOTRO, will involve the wedding of Aragorn and Arwen in some way. Unless we're still on like a major sidetrack, pretty positive this next update is at least going to have that. Even if it's just a subplot or a side thing, it's going to be there. On July 15th, Arwen gives her place to Frodo to sail to the west. He doesn't sail yet, but she gave up her ticket for the boat, basically. On the 18th, Éomer returns to Minas Tirith. And on the 22nd, and this is super crazy that it's just now happening, keep in mind, Theoden died way back in March. Just now in June, or July actually, they're starting the escort for Theoden from Minas Tirith. I really, really, really hope this plotline is in LOTRO. It would be so emotional. Because, like, we've already had, like, the death of the king and stuff, but we haven't really, like, dug into it. And, man, having a funeral escort that whole way, that would be, like, the saddest journey. Oh, my goodness. This would be insane. I really hope that this is a big piece of content, just like I hope Aragorn and Arwen's wedding is a big piece of content as well. And honestly, they could do these both in the same update, easy. As we go down to August, they get to Edoras, so it took them like 2 weeks to get there. They got the funeral of Theoden on August 10th. He died way back in March. Way back in March. Dawnless day, muster the Rohirrim. Yeah, right here. Theoden is slain on the 15th of March. And way down on the 10th of August, he finally gets buried. It's insane how long this timeline is. Diego, welcome, welcome. Nice to have you here. Ponton says, I hope we get to attend. I mean, we have helped them a ton in LOTRO. Yeah, I would be shocked if we're not at least in attendance in the wedding. It would be kind of funny, though, if they had us, like, way back where you can't even see and you're just, like, trying to piece together what's going on and, like, try to get boosts from people, and they could have some fun with it, I think. The guests take leave of Theoden. Here we go, August 15th. This is a key date right here. Keep in mind, August 15th in the Third Age. Treebeard releases Saruman from Orthanc. So all those people hoping that the Scouring of the Shire is, you know, LOTRO's next update, I would not be holding my breath, because Saruman is still in Orthanc until August 15th. And based on how long LOTRO's timeline is, like, that's at least, like, bare minimum at, like, LOTRO rushing. That's, like, 2 months away, or 2 updates away. If LOTRO was, like, sprinting, that event would be then. I feel like we're not going to see the Scouring of the Shire in 2020. I would be shocked at this point if we saw that, just because of where LOTRO's at in the timeline and how slowly, historically, LOTRO's been moving through the timeline. Now, keep in mind, they could have a whole, like, finish out all the rest of the events in the Third Age update. And they could go straight to the wedding, straight to the funeral, straight to the Scouring. And if they did that, you know, that the Scouring wouldn't be that far. But I definitely don't think it's going to be in the next update. That would be just almost impossible to squeeze in. There's just too much stuff that they got to cover. They come to Helm's Deep. They come to Isengard. They overtake Saruman. Saruman turns towards the Shire. The end of August. Insanely long amount of time. In September, they go back to the mountains of Moria. Celeborn and Galadriel depart. Others set out for Rivendell. The 129th birthday of Bilbo on the 22nd September. That's going to be a huge event. Can't wait for that. Also, same day, Saruman comes to the Shire. Hey, Neurotic Anarchy, welcome, welcome. I really hope we get to see Saruman come to the Shire. I think it'd be a very interesting backstory kind of thing. Let me real quick, because I'm just talking here. Let me get some background music in here. Hey, Philip, thank you so much for the resub, man. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Get LOTRO's soundtrack here. For those that don't know, the Lord of the Rings Online Minas Morgul official soundtrack is all on YouTube. And you can just listen to it on there. Put it around there. Alright. Anyway, in October, Gandalf and everybody leave Rivendell. They cross the Ford of Brunnen. Frodo feels the first return of pain. That's going to be a huge moment. They reach Bree at nightfall. They leave Bree. And here on the 30th, the Scouring of the Shire events start to happen. Very fitting. Imagine entering the Shire on Halloween. That would be pretty cool. Actually, if they could line the Scouring of the Shire up with a Halloween update, that would be awesome. I would love to see that. That would fit the like creepy vibe. It'd be pretty cool. Ponton says, my guess is the next update takes us to Gundabad. Yeah, I think so too. I think the next update's Gundabad, and we might have like a side rep quest or something that's the wedding of Aragorn and Arwen. I feel like what I would expect almost is that the wedding calls us out of Minas Morgul, and we go back to Gondor, right? And then from the wedding, we get sent up north. I could see them do something like that. Have the wedding be like a midpoint while we go back up. I think that would be interesting. Anyway, then we finally have the Scouring of the Shire in November, and it's basically over by November 4th. Honestly, really November 3rd. But as you can see, according to Tolkien Gateway, the end of the War of the Ring is not over until Saruman passes on the 3rd of November. So we're not done with the War of the Ring yet. But eventually we'll get there and it'll be all good. So there's some people that are like, oh, they're never going to do the Scouring of the Shire. It's not that important. It's not a big deal. I think because of this alone, along with, you know, this part, but really this, I don't think there's any way they pass up the Scouring of the Shire, and I think it's going to be a big update. I really hope the Scouring is an update just by itself. I could see them throwing in the wedding, throwing in Theoden's funeral, and the other updates, but the Scouring of the Shire really needs to be its own update, I feel like. I would be very disappointed if it wasn't. There's more than enough content there. There's not enough people that have covered the Scouring of the Shire. Like, it's a very not covered event in Middle-earth history. They gotta do it in a big way. So I would really love to see that. Alright, so that's 3019. Let's go to 3020. In March, Frodo's ill on the anniversary of his poisoning by Shelob. In April, Melon flowers in the party field. Death of Lobelia in spring. Sam marries Rose. This is going to be a huge thing. In my opinion, this is almost a bigger marriage than Aragorn and Arwen. This is a huge deal when Sam marries Rose finally. Frodo does become mayor at some point, and he resigns the office, and Will Wilfoot is restored in Mid-Year's Day. This was a leap year in Shire reckoning. The merrymaking that year is said to have been the greatest memory on record. Wonderful summer for that year. Maiden Lions has talked about it before on the forums that there will be the Scouring, but they still have a lot more to do before we get there. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot. There's definitely gonna be a lot. Oh, I did forget to open the giveaway. Let me do that real quick. Pretty sure you're already entered Neurotic, but just might want to make sure. Alright, Bilbo's birthday again. Frodo's ill again. Faramir weds Eowyn. This is another huge wedding that takes place apparently during the year. We don't know when this is, but that would be a big deal. This one we might not see. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they cover this. I feel like because of placement, it's going to be tough to cover it, but they could put it in a time in the year where we'd be able to get there and it'd be fine. Van City Bear, welcome, welcome. Philip, nice to have you here as well. Alright, so that's that year. Let's go to 3021. Brazil again, last day of the Third Age, according to Gondor. Sam's daughter Eleanor is born. The beginning of the Fourth Age, according to the calendars of Gondor. Frodo and Sam set out from Hobbiton for the Grey Havens. Frodo and Sam meet the last Riding Keepers in the Woody End. Turn that down a bit. Departure of the Ringbearers for Valinor. September 29th. How amazing would it be if for some reason we were able to go to Valinor too? But that's a long time from now. In October, Sam returns to Bag End on his faithful pony Bill. And at some point, Éomer weds whoever this is. I honestly don't know what this is. Daughter of Prince Imrahil. Oh yeah. Man. That's gonna be crazy. Had at least one son named Elfwine. 19th King of Gondor. Whether she still lived by that date or died after is unknown. Ooh. Oh, she's in LOTRO. Of course she's in LOTRO. That's right. That's who that is. Okay. Oh, that's cool. They've already got it all. Man, Maid Alliance already has it all together. They've got it all figured out. It's all good to go. Hey, Enderwolves. Nice to have you here, man. Yeah, the ending quest for LOTRO really should be going to Valinor. That would be awesome. That'd be really cool. Anyway, that's that. Let's go to the Fourth Age. Fourth Age began after Sauron was finally defeated, when the ruling ring was destroyed and the keepers of the Three Rings left Middle-earth for the uttermost west. Third Age was held to have ended when the Three Rings passed away in September. So, according to Gondor, the Fourth Age starts in basically when they sail away. What's interesting though is in the Shire, it doesn't. Anyway. No information on more than the first few centuries of this age, so it's not known when it ended, if it ever did. Although it's probably shorter than 3 millennia. Presumably marked by the recovery of Númenorian Kingdom of Arnor and Gondor, including the hobbits. So yeah, that's going to be a huge deal when Arnor comes back. And the elves sail off, and I guarantee you LOTRO's going to do this. There's going to be a new shadow that rises out of Minas Tirith after the death of Aragorn, which is going to be just awesome. Basically a new big evil in Middle-earth, and I can't wait to see what they do with that. Let's go to the timeline. Alright, here we go. Aragorn goes to Numenos, like Evendim. That's going to be huge when that happens in the 15th year of the Fourth Age. Birth of hobbits. Sam and Rose have a ton of kids, in case you guys didn't know. It's just kind of ludicrous. Oh, and they venture into Gondor. They go on all sorts of adventures. Eventually Sam becomes mayor, and it's a big deal. Let's see, what else is in here? Oh, man. If LOTRO ever got to the 61st year of the Fourth Age, the death of Rose. Not long after that, Sam immediately leaves and goes for the Grey Havens once she passes away. That's sad. Bunch of deaths of people. So we don't know when Durin retakes Moria, but that does happen at some point, so that'll be a big thing. I also don't know when Gondor conquers everything it does, but I know that he and his son definitely go on a conquering spree. Gondor, conquer, Harad. When does Gondor conquer Harad? The Corsair Wars, that sounds awesome. So yeah, Aragorn destroyed their fleets. With the fall of Barad-dûr, Umbar, weakened and defeated, finally lost its sovereignty and cemented the crown of King Elisar. Yet that's very much a highlight. Once again defeated by Aragorn and the army of the dead. Alright, well, anyway, at some point they go and conquer all of that stuff, which is going to be awesome as well. So, anyway, that's what we have to look forward to in LOTRO in the coming years, is a ton of weddings, eventually the Scouring of the Shire, a bunch of Sam and Rose's children, and also a lot of wars with Harad and the Southern Kingdoms in general. At some point, we're going to Gundabad. My guess is that that's going to be LOTRO's next update. I really do think. It just makes sense with how much they've been setting up with Karsgar and all that stuff. I feel like we're going to go up, have a wedding, and then continue on up and, go and conquer to the north with everything we're going to be doing in Gundabad. After Gundabad, we'll probably come back, Theoden's funeral. And with the funeral of Theoden, we'll get tied in with the releasing of Saruman somehow. That'll happen. And then probably in 2021 sometime, maybe even later, we'll finally have the Scouring of the Shire. And then eventually conquer a bunch of stuff in Harad and elsewhere. Yeah, Sharky and everything, yep. Andang, making random noises. Me? Fair enough, fair enough. So anyway, that's what LOTRO's timeline looks like. I'm excited about it. I really did think the Scouring of the Shire was going to be sooner until I actually took the time to really think out how slow LOTRO's going. I mean, it still surprises me that LOTRO, basically all of LOTRO, pretty much takes place in 6 months of Middle-earth time. That's really hard for me to wrap my brain around, but it is true. So anyway, hopefully we'll be able to see a sped up timeline moving forward. I'm sure we will. There's just too many events that I'm sure they're going to want to get to in future years. And they could even play around with the years on the timeline as well and move things up and move things back. I'm sure they can. They have in the past. So it'll be very interesting to see how LOTRO does all that going forward. What's going to be even more interesting to me is whenever this new Amazon MMO comes out that's Lord of the Rings related, it'll be interesting to see if that maybe speeds up LOTRO's timeline at all. Or if LOTRO's just going to keep on trucking. But yeah, I'm very interested to see where Amazon's timeline comes into play. Because apparently it's going to be like quite a while before the events of the Lord of the Rings, and that could be really interesting as well. If we got to see all the Arnor and all that stuff in there, all the stuff that LOTRO alludes to but never really covers, man, that would be so cool. So cool. Honestly, I'd like to see LOTRO do more flashback times, right? Play with the timeline a little bit more, LOTRO. Go back in time. Have us cover the fall of Arnor. How awesome would it be, actually, if when Gondor reunites and rebuilds the Kingdom of Arnor, if we had a whole flashback to the past and got to see the fall of Arnor for real, with the Witch King destroying Weathertop and all that stuff? That would be so cool. I really hope they do that. You don't even understand a word I'm saying, Interwolves? How come, man? Anyway, so yeah, that's what we're looking forward to. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. I can't wait to see what Maid of Lions and everyone else has planned for us moving forward. So hopefully you guys are excited about the future of LOTRO. I know I am. There's so much content left to go, and I can't wait to see it come to pass. So anyway, till next time, thank you everyone so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for some more Lord of the Rings Online. Take care, everybody, and have a great night.